There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain, moments when the path ahead is unclear, when the answers you are searching for do not come, and when even your prayers seem to disappear into silence. You try to stay strong. You try to believe. But deep inside, a quiet question begins to grow. Can I still trust God when life feels like this? If you have ever asked that question, you are not alone. Many people believe that trusting God should feel natural, easy, effortless. But the truth is, trust becomes most difficult when life becomes most painful. It is easy to say, I trust God when everything is going well, when doors are opening, when prayers are being answered, when life feels safe and certain. But what about the moments when nothing seems to change, when you keep praying, but the situation remains the same, when you keep hoping, but things do not get better, when you feel like you are doing everything right, yet life continues to feel heavy? It is in these moments that trust is truly tested. In the Bible, we see this kind of struggle again and again. Consider the life of Job. He was a man who was faithful, a man who honored God, a man who lived with integrity. And yet, in a very short time, he lost everything. His home, his possessions, his family, and even his health. From the outside, it made no sense. There was no clear reason, no explanation, no immediate answer from God, only silence and suffering. And in the middle of that pain, Job asked questions. He cried out. He struggled to understand, but even in his confusion, even in his sorrow, he held on to something deeper than understanding. He held on to trust. Not because he had answers, but because he believed that God was still present, even in the silence. Now think about Joseph. His story begins with a dream, a promise of something greater, but that promise did not unfold in a simple way. Instead, Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, taken far from everything he knew, and just when things seemed to improve, he was falsely accused and thrown into prison. Days turned into months, and months turned into years, waiting, wondering, hoping. It would have been easy for Joseph to believe that God had forgotten him, that the dream meant nothing, that his life was simply falling apart. But behind the scenes, something was happening. Quietly, slowly, God was working, not in a way Joseph could see, but in a way that would one day make everything clear. Because later, Joseph would rise from prison to become a leader in Egypt. And in that position, he would save countless lives, including the very family that had betrayed him. Looking back, Joseph could finally understand what seemed like rejection was actually redirection. What felt like abandonment was actually preparation. And so he said something powerful. What others meant for evil, God used for good. Maybe your life feels a little like that right now. Uncertain, confusing, heavy. Maybe you are in a season where nothing makes sense, where the answers are not coming, where you feel like you are waiting without knowing why. And maybe you are quietly asking, where is God in all of this? The truth is, trusting God has never been about having all the answers. It has never been about understanding every step. Trust is not built on clarity. It is built on faith. Faith that even when you cannot see the path, God is still guiding you. Faith that even when you cannot hear His voice, He is still near. Faith that even in the silence, He is still working. You may not see it now. You may not feel it yet, but your story is not finished. The waiting has a purpose. The silence has meaning. And the path you are walking is not without direction. You do not need perfect faith. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to have all the strength. Sometimes all you need is one small, honest prayer. God, I do not understand, but I trust you, even in uncertainty. Trust him, even in waiting. Trust him, even in pain. Trust him, because he has not forgotten you. He has not left you. And he is not finished with your story. Wherever you are right now, in peace or in struggle, in clarity or in confusion, hold on to this truth. God is still with you. And even today, you can still trust him.